Hello and welcome to another episode of Wedflics. I'm Julia Braime. I'm the editor of UNVEILED, the luxury wedding magazine, and Brides Up North, the top UK wedding blog for northern couples. Today I'm hosting Hayley Hoyle on the channel. Hayley is a bridal stylist and the owner of Yorkshire's top bridal boutiques. Today she's talking us through the bridal shopping experience. I know a lot of you will be watching this from lockdown when it's recorded and you'll be desperate to start that dress shopping. Hayley's here to talk you through what you can be doing in the meantime to prepare you for when the appointment finally happens. If you're watching this beyond then, Hayley's also talking us through the whole dress shopping extravaganza, what happens in boutique, why shopping with an independent bridal boutique is so very important, and also the types of dresses that are perfect to fit each different body type. There's a whole host of info in this episode, and I really hope you enjoy it. Hi, Hayley. Welcome to the Wedflics YouTube series.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. So obviously you're coming to us from your home office today.
I am, yeah.
It's been very lovely there, very productive. See some boxes in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, the realities of having to work from home right now where the struggle is real, but it's okay. We're all good. We're coping.
Good. So your delivery is a bit more exciting than ours, I think. It's not just your Amazon standard delivery right there, is it?
No. A couple of Suzanne Neville boxes arriving yesterday, so we're just waiting to get those up to the boutique. So.
Oh, fantastic. Some excited brides once we come out of this period, definitely.
Yeah.
So, Hayley, obviously I know you very, very well, being a friend as well as an industry friend. So, but for those people who maybe don't know you so well, could you introduce yourself and also your two boutiques?
Yeah, so we have the Harrogate Wedding Lounge and the Bridal Collection, both based in Harrogate, and we stock a variety of different designers over different price points within the boutiques. At the moment, we're set up a little bit differently because we're trialling a period of having all of our designers under one roof at our big boutique, and we've got an off-the-peg solution at our smaller boutique as well for brides that might need to get a dress quickly or perhaps on a bit of a budget. So we've got a couple of different options right now.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting, because I know your boutiques very well, that obviously your larger boutique is absolutely stunning and everything's laid out really gorgeously to browse, but that's exactly the same at your off-the-peg boutique as well, at your smaller boutique. It's not a budget shopping experience at that second boutique, is it? That's not how you're doing this.
No, not at all. I mean, they are at the example dresses or perhaps dresses that we want to move on quickly to make way for new collections. But they are, the experience, the independent kind of advice that we give and the kind of, I guess, personal approach is the same at both shops, whether you're buying off the peg or you're buying a brand new designer.
And what about yourself? How did you come into this industry and how did your journey begin and go on from there?
Well, it was a time kind of, I guess, very much like what's happening right now. We just hit the peak of the recession in 2009, and I got the opportunity to take voluntary redundancy from my job at the time. I worked in legal software, and so I really wanted to work for myself. I wanted to get up every day and go and do something that was for me in what felt like a very uncertain world. I wanted to take back some control. I knew I wanted to work for myself and just do something that made me really happy. I'd always worked with people, in close contact with people. So I knew that retail really was where I would have liked to be, and the old sort of cliche of just having planned my own wedding 2 years earlier, bit of an unsuccessful wedding dress shopping experience for the most part, but it just felt like it was right. And once I was sort of looking at options of what to do and which direction I was going to take it in, I realised that the boutique that was actually in my village at the time, what is now the Harrogate Wedding Lounge, was a bridal boutique owned by somebody else, and they were really wanting to wind it up and move away. So I purchased the stock that she had remaining, and moved in.
And your story definitely doesn't stop there, because the business you have grown with your team, and also single-handedly with your husband and people around you, you've got an amazing team. That business is just, it's incredible. It's inspiring. And I think we'll be coming back to that business in a future episode of this, for creatives in the industry and people who are interested in that process. For today, though, it's all about our brides who are sat at home desperate to come in and see you and visit you in these boutiques. So I think straight to it. So can you let us know about which designers you stock in the boutiques?
Yeah, so we go right across the board, really, in terms of both price point and aesthetic and look and feel. So starting off with our amazing kind of international designers that are really kind of coveted, such as Enzoni, Blue by Enzoni, Maggie Sotero and Justin Alexander. They're our kind of core international brands. And then we're really proud to stock and support some incredible British names as well. Suzanne Neville, Caroline Castigliano, Sassy Holford, all fabulous British labels, and very much the heart of our business.
They are, and some of those labels you've just mentioned are some of our absolute favourites. We love, as an aside, we love working with Hayley at Unveiled magazine, at our glossy mag, and some of those designers we've been lucky enough to work with on shoots, either with Hayley or independently, and they really are the absolute market leaders. So if you're choosing from that selection, you are, I mean, you'd be like a kid in a candy shop, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just like I am when I'm picking for the shoots. And what about the sizing? What sizes do you cater for? I know this is something very close to your heart and that you're a real advocate of.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one thing that many brides worry about. And obviously, as a plus size myself, it's something that I'm very aware of. And bridal is a very tricky one, because we are smallish shops, and we only really have the facility to buy every dress in one size. So we sort of look at the styles, look at the kind of shapes and kind of body types that we think a specific style would suit, and we kind of purchase dresses based on that, really. In store we go from a 10 to an 18, I would say, predominantly, and most of the samples are 12s, 14s and 16s. But having said that, we have ways and means to fit brides of any shape and size into most of our samples. So our team are expertly trained in fitting dresses to your body shape. So even if it doesn't go all the way up, or the buttons don't all do up, you will absolutely know what that dress is going to look like. We pin people in, there's all sorts of things that we can do, and all sorts of techniques that we've got. So I mean, the one thing I would say to brides that are kind of worrying about sample sizing is don't, because if you choose your boutiques carefully, if you look at visiting an independent who is, you know, kind of got the range of styles and range of designers that you are interested in, that boutique will specialize in giving you an idea of as many styles as possible. It's actually really rare that somebody can walk into a bridal boutique, whatever size they are, and find styles that fit them like a glove. Samples don't fit like a glove typically, but we have a way in store of giving you the very best possible idea of how they're going to look and feel.
Yeah, so going to that experience of the store, I know that you're very proud of your team and how they're trained, and what would the store experience be like for a bride coming in to visit your team, and why are they so special? What makes that experience so special? Can you talk us through the experience a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, my team are absolutely the heart of our business, and every single one of them, above anything else, is passionate about what they do. They are passionate about bridal, they're passionate about women and boosting people's confidence and making them feel great at a time when most people forget that a lot of brides are actually really nervous when they walk through our doors for the first time. And that's what my team are trained in, putting people at ease. Normalizing the situation, because sometimes the gravity of what they're doing comes over, like, kind of overwhelms people, and so essentially we just have fun. We're real people. We're just like our brides. We've got our own insecurities, our own hang-ups. We laugh and we joke about them, and we just have fun. That's the heart of what we do.
Yeah, what I'd say is when you come to your boutiques, it's a really friendly and chilled environment, and I always want to kind of hang out and chat for longer than I may be welcome. as someone dropping in, which isn't advisable, someone dropping in without an appointment, normally to pick up dresses for a shoot. And I'm actually always a little bit jealous of the brides who are getting to have that experience with you. My wedding was 10 years ago. My boutique experience was good, to be fair. But, you know, there's something special about what you've created and the people around you. And I'm always like, oh, I just, you know, want to do it all again type thing. Yeah, so it's
thank you.
Yeah, it is a fun experience, and it is something to be enjoyed and not feared and not worried about, for sure. You know, however you're coming to it. For that, so when a bride comes to you and she's made her appointment, she's turning up, what are your sort of top tips for that appointment? I mean, the sort of who she should bring with her, which experience, what sort of expectations she should come with.
Well, firstly, I would say don't bring too many people. That's kind of the number one thing, really. Again, I touch back on the fact that a lot of brides find it overwhelming, and I think sometimes they tackle that with bringing a huge entourage with them, and more often than not, that makes the situation more difficult. So I'd bring a couple of people whose opinion you really, really value, mum, grandma, sister, but do limit it, really. Too many opinions can be overwhelming. And come with an open mind, you know, don't be set on anything too particular or too specific, because while we will listen to your ideas and we'll absolutely get you in dresses that are what you envisage you might wear on the day, we'll absolutely push you out of your comfort zone a little bit as well. That's part of what we do, and sometimes that's where you get the most epic results, because you end up with a bride in a dress that she had absolutely no intention of wearing or anything like what she thought she would wear, but she's just had that ultimate feeling, and that's a special moment for us as well, because we know we've done our jobs right.
Yeah, I'm nodding along here. We feature a lot of real weddings, obviously, whether in the magazine or on our website, and it's really interesting. It's really polarized. So when the bride's talking about her dress, it's either, I've had this style in mind since I was a little girl. It was, you know, classic satin, whatever. And I absolutely went for that. Cut and dry. Yeah. Or at the absolute polar opposite, it is, I had this style in mind since I was a little girl. But when I went shopping, the dress shop put me in a dress that I absolutely would not have chosen off the peg. I thought I'd try it on just to humour them. And oh my God, everyone cried. And that was the one. It's one or the other, and we see that a lot, actually.
Yeah, and that'll depend very much on the stylist who's conducting the appointment. If they've got the confidence to push you out of your comfort zone, to make you try different things. For me, it's part of what we do. It's part of our service, because I think that you can get a more confident decision on the dress that you do choose if you've tried lots of others that you've definitely dismissed. If you come into a boutique and you're only fixated on trying, I don't know, slimline crepe dresses with a low back, and that's all you want to try on. For me, as a stylist, my job is to just test that theory a little bit. You know, just push you out of your comfort zone, put you in a big ball gown. If nothing else, for the fact that you may never try another one on again.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know,
it's fun.
You only get to do it once, and why not really have the full experience?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't try on any ball gowns when I went dress shopping, and I have since.
just one or two.
Yeah, I fully indulged that fantasy, but not many people get to do that. So yeah, enjoy your experience, have fun with it, play around, and be led by the stylist, because they're there for a reason. They know what they're doing. They're not just trying to sell to you. They really are they're wanting to create that dream for you, aren't they, Hayley? It's not just
and we know the product as well. We know how something, because we all know when we go shopping on the high streets, how something looks on a hanger. It's not how it looks on the body, and we've got the benefit of hindsight. We've seen all of our dresses on, and we know how they make brides look and feel. And another really key part of what we do as soon as the dresses come in is I get the team in them. We get the team try them on. We talk about them in our trainings. We photograph them on a body for our social media feed. And so when the consultants and stylists are in an appointment, they really know how a bride is feeling and thinking about a style because they've actually felt it on their own bodies. So if a particular fabric is too stiff, or some one's got too much structure in, or it doesn't sit right on the cut's not quite right on the bust line or something like that, we can really see that on a bride, and they've experienced that, so they know what they're talking about. They know the product.
I think it's very interesting that I know that a lot of work goes in behind the scenes before the bride actually gets to her appointment. So you guys have gone, you've met with the designers, you've seen their collections, you've selected from their collections, you've fed back to the designers if things aren't working right, because you've got that relationship where you are able to give honest feedback to the designers. So it's really, and also after the process with the bride in the boutique, you will also be able to feed back to the designers and make tweaks here and there. So it's not a kind of a set, it's not just a one size fits all process, is it?
No. And I think also, particularly with our British designers, the relationship that we have with them, because we know our brides, we know typically what they're wanting, we know what we're asked for, and I think we have the ability to change our own samples. So, for example, with a few of our designers, we've not taken a sample as it was originally designed. We've made tweaks to it. We've made changes. We've combined dresses together to create our own kind of almost unique collection, really.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's an amazing process, and I feel quite honoured to sort of see the behind the scenes of it, because I just did not know how much went into it and how much thought was put into actually fitting, giving brides what they want. Let's talk about body shapes and about your advice. So you have a bit of a sort of a secondary career that runs alongside your boutiques, don't you, as a stylist?
Yeah.
Which you're very, very good at. So you are the ultimate person to talk to about wedding dresses and about what sort of styles and shapes suit, in theory, a particular figure, because it is in theory, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is. There isn't a one, in terms of, there isn't a one size fits all approach to this. If you have a big bust, you can't wear this neckline or that neckline, or, it's very much, it's about combining the body shape with the personality as well, and it's a tricky process, and it's it takes time to get it right, but there isn't necessarily a set of golden rules that you should absolutely follow. There's typical things, but it's very much about working with someone who's used to just dressing a lot of shapes, and then using that knowledge alongside a bride's personal style and personality, and then coming up with a solution that is really representative of them as an individual.
Yeah, I love how it includes personality into that as well. That's a really important factor, and the type of wedding they're having, season, styling of the wedding.
Yeah,
I think that, and age as well could be a factor in it, although it doesn't have to be. I think there's so many different things to consider, and that's why I think it's great to actually have the experience of going into an independent boutique, which I think we can come back to in a little while. So speaking about this body shapes, let's have a bit of fun with it. So we'll have a lot of brides, readers and viewers now. Hello viewers at home, and they'll be thinking about when they can get out of their houses and come and see you in boutique. So for them, let's play a game where we take a particular body shape, we kind of say what the golden rules would be of that, and then maybe suggest a few designers or styles who you think would be a good place to start if they're doing a little bit of Pinterest or Google searching or whatever, wherever you get your dress ideas. So if someone had concerns about being petite.
Okay, so typically if someone is petite, I would say volume is a big thing. So I wouldn't necessarily be going for anything that had huge amounts of skirt to it. I think you want something that's quite sleek, quite elegant, maybe not too many lines breaking up the body, but just something quite simple and elegant, fairly straight down. And probably not a terribly fussy fabric, but again, that's debatable. You can still get some very, very elegant and sleek shapes with some detailed fabric that would be fine. But so that's probably not too much of a deal breaker. But I would definitely, the key thing is volume and minimize the fuss.
And what dresses do you know coming into your boutique? Which design is particularly good for that, and what styles would you pick? I know it's difficult because you haven't met the girl in question.
Yeah, well, again, I would say keep to something quite simple. So probably beautiful kind of stretch crepe, or quite simple designs from somebody like Justin Alexander. Their signature collection is particularly good. And maybe Suzanne Neville. Yeah.
Fab. And then on the other side of things, what if someone was a taller lady?
So if you're tall, I think, well, first of all, you have a benefit because there's not really much that you need to dismiss. It depends if you're conscious of your height. I would obviously just say, with regards to footwear, obviously no heels, or really elegant flats. But with regards to wedding dresses, if we get a girl come into the boutique who's tall, she kind of has free reign. It would probably more come down to body shape with somebody who's taller, because there's really the wedding gown samples that we have they're based on 5'11", so 5'10", 5'11". So that somebody who's tall gets a really great idea of how they're going to look.
Yeah. And so then let's look at some body shapes. So how about someone with a fuller figure?
So for me, in being in this camp myself, I think if you are of a fuller figure, I think structure is really important. Typically, if you're kind of a size 16 up, not always, but the majority of the time, you're probably carrying a fuller bust. So typically, I would say structure is really important, making sure you feel held in and secure, ideally without the need to having to wear another bra underneath it. So again, designers like Caroline Castigliano, Suzanne Neville, who really are incredible corseteers, they offer the structure and the support in all of their styles for somebody of a fuller figure. Again, I would say emphasizing the bits of you that you love, kind of, if you go in at the waist, emphasize your waist, and you don't have to have something that's clingy around your hips and bum if that's and your tummy if that's your conscious area. If you really don't like your arms, then we can put sleeves in dresses, or there's dresses with sleeves. So again, it's about emphasizing the bits of you that your best bits, that you want to show off. And there's ways to kind of not disguise the bits we're not so sure about, but again, emphasize those too in a way that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, it's all about appreciating the shape, isn't it, and about enhancing that shape and celebrating it.
Yeah.
So your tips there for a fuller figure in general, they would apply then to someone who was a bit slimmer with a fuller bust?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, key in wedding dresses is it's got to be comfort. And for me, ideally, you don't want to be wearing a bra underneath your wedding dress, unless you have if you are extremely full busted, it might, logistically still need to happen. But in theory, for the majority of people, a well-fitting wedding dress with a great level of structure and corsetry in it would negate the need for a bra underneath. So it's reducing that boning, it's reducing any discomfort, but still giving you the support that you need.
Yeah, ladies with a full bust being one myself. this is your dream dress shopping experience, your dream shopping experience. These dresses come with your dream bra built in.
Yeah,
honestly, don't they? It's a breath of fresh air, really. And then also sort of ladies with a pear shape or an hourglass shape.
Yeah, so again, emphasizing that waist. I mean, it depends on, again, this is where I come back to personality. You know, there's a lot of girls out there that have, you know, now proudly donning those Kim Kardashian hips, you know, like if you want to show them off, there's styles out there to do that. If you are somebody who's, again, conscious of your hips and tummy and bottom area, focus on that waistline, nip it in at the waist, let the fabric flow over at the bottom half, make it all about that top detail. So whether that's gorgeous sleeves or a really nice neckline, and cinch that waist in, and then the fabric at the bottom will flow over the areas that you're not so confident with.
And which dress designers are particularly nice for that, for a little cinched in waist and more on the top, more detail up top, less at bottom?
There's some really, really beautiful designs by Lillian West at the moment, part of the Justin Alexander collection. Rainbow styling, there's slightly more boho kind of feel to them. So again, beautiful necklines, either plungy or really nice kind of lace sleeves and things, and then detail at the waist, and then a really soft flowing skirt at the bottom, really kind of nice and flowing, and really nice for like a country wedding or an outdoors wedding, and really comfortable to wear as well.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. And we had a real bride recently on the blog who described her dress shopping experience, and she stood out to me because she said when she went dress shopping, she was looking at dresses that were going to hide her hourglass figure, but the stylist at the time put her into a shape that really emphasized it, and she was really excited to wear it because it was something she would never normally wear, and it drew attention to it rather than hiding it. And that, you know, I think her husband-to-be's eyes popped out of his head on the day, and they all had a lovely time because she'd really gone for something that, you know, celebrated her body shape. And I thought that was lovely that she'd stepped out of her comfort zone, and it had such great results for her, with obviously the right styling team behind her helping her with that.
Yeah,
Might have actually been one of your brides.
Oh, well, it would be fabulous if it was. I mean, because what the team and I feel is that that's part of a really important part of our job, is to give people the confidence to celebrate themselves and the way they look. You know, going back to the building people up rather than tearing people down. I think as women, we're self-critical so much of ourselves and each other, that part of what is really important to me in the process that we do in store is really giving somebody the confidence to love themselves, you know, like, and appreciate themselves and the way they are, and, you know, because everybody's beautiful, and, you know, it really is a pleasure to help a bride realize that.
So how about someone who perhaps is more athletic or has a smaller bust? Obviously those two things don't sit alongside each other in all cases.
Yeah. So for a more athletic figure or a smaller bust, a higher neckline or a kind of a racer neckline can look nice. Sometimes, you know, you really have to have quite a modest bust to wear something quite high. And I also think that if you've got quite an athletic figure, then something with a, you know, little bit of uniqueness at the neckline, like you say, racer front or racer back, can add that extra bit of detail and really look good on those sorts of figures.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been nailing it in the gym, you're going to want to show it off, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine.
You're fit as a fiddle now.
yeah, me too. To be fair. Walks every day.
Yeah.
So if a bride comes to you and she finds her dream dress, she absolutely loves it, and she says, okay, this is the one. So what's the process then? What are the next steps from boutique right to walking down the aisle in it?
Yeah, so once she's chosen her dress, we, depending on the designer, we will arrange for either we take a full set of measurements at that time, or we will invite the bride back for a remeasure if our designers allow that. And then once the dress comes into store, it's about 8 weeks, 10 weeks before your wedding, the dress will come into store, and that's when the fun really begins, because I'm really, really, really proud of our in-house alterations team. We've got an incredible team of ladies who are just exceptional in what they do. In terms of our alterations process, everything's in-house, so you'd be invited back for your first fitting, your pin fit. So we would have our seamstresses, our team's headed up by Jo, our incredible head seamstress, and we would fit your dress, get you in with all your with your friends and family and whoever you want part of that special process, and make all the alterations to your dress. During your first fitting, we also leave plenty of time to look at accessories. So if you want, to accessorize your gown at that stage, veils, headdresses, jewelry, jackets, things like that, then we leave time for all of that at your first fitting. It's a really exciting appointment. It's one of my favourite times with our brides, because the wedding's getting close. It's everybody's full of lots of excitement, everybody's giddy, and really starting to imagine the day. And then we have a final fitting, usually about 2 weeks before the wedding, where we get the bride back in. We just check all the alterations are all fine, and then the dress is fully prepped for collection, and taken away, ready to put on the day.
Fantastic! What an exciting time! And what about aftercare?
Yeah, so after the wedding, all of our brides are invited to bring their gowns back to us. We offer a cleaning service. So it's there's a few different options. You can either have it just cleaned and returned to you. You can also have it cleaned and boxed, which is essentially packed with acid-free tissue paper to help preserve it for a long period of time. And we also do a repair service. So if there's been little snags on the day, or you've put your heel through your train or something like that, then we can help rectify all those bits before it goes off for cleaning, and to be preserved.
I'd really recommend that aftercare service, as well, as someone who, well, I actually waited 7 years to do my aftercare service because my Petite didn't offer it, and I think my dress was in a suitcase in my loft.
Yeah.
And I went through the process, and it's amazing, and you really do then have an heirloom piece, beautifully boxed and prepped, and to keep and to have there, that that you can show your family one day. Although, I'll not be taking out the box. My little girls won't be wearing the dress because it will never be removed from that box. It just looks so incredible. They can look at it, but they can't touch it. But yeah, it's a really special thing, even 7 years later. So if I'd done that straight after my wedding, it would have really lifted, boosted my, the post-wedding blues. Or it would have really helped with that. So it's a really nice service, I think, to offer. And not all boutiques offer that. So I think that's something incredible that shouldn't just be washed over, really.
It's worth noting as well that the company that we use, they only clean wedding dresses and fine fabrics, so it's really a trusted service. They clean all of our sample dresses regularly on a kind of rota system, and that's really important. Such a precious item. I can't tell you the amount of times that we've had to rescue dresses, or try to rescue dresses, or get new lace for dresses where they've sent them off to a high street dry cleaners, and they just not have the either the products or the knowledge of the product that they're dealing with to clean it effectively, and it's just not worth putting it in that situation.
Yeah, I think the lesson from that is, and it's with everything bridal really, it's to use specialists. Use independent specialists, use people who are at top of their game at what they do, because this is such an important day, and it is important to know that you've got the backing of a team with experience. And this isn't about, people worry, oh, it's a wedding, so it's going to be more expensive. It's absolutely not. It's just that you're using specialists for your big day to provide you with the best possible service, and then you won't have these nightmares and disasters, or you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So shopping independent is something very close to my heart. We dedicated a whole issue, a whole 324 pages of it in our last issue of Unveiled, to the cause, which I could dedicate another 3,000 pages to the cause. Supporting your local independents. Super important. Hayley, why should a bride be shopping with an independent boutique?
So I think it's really important, the independent thing, because we're small teams, and everything we do with such heart. You know, we've got trainings that we go through, and ultimately we're real people who have built a business from scratch, and who genuinely care about the service that we're providing, and what part of the industry that we are.
Yeah, I think it's that care thing, isn't it, that each client to you is so very important. You're not just a number in a conveyor belt.
Yeah, absolutely. And the personal approach that we have is, it's such an important time for brides that it's not a process that can be generic or impersonal in any way, in my opinion. We are so much to so many people, in terms of, you know, we're counsellors, we're friends, there's so many roles we play within this shopping experience. It's far from just walking into a shop and picking up a product off a shelf. It's, you know, we really get to know people, and we really become part of their lives and part of that wedding dress shopping process, and that's the way it should be. You know, it's integral to helping the wedding come together, and the people that we've met, and you know, again, the team that we are part of, in pulling that wedding together, florists, wedding planners, hair and makeup artists, you know, working all together to deliver that incredible, you know, unique service for that bride.
Yeah, I think there's an amazing quote actually in the piece you wrote for us in your column for our last issue that said something like that you are counsellors, confidants, stylists, mediators, and then the person holding the prosecco and the person holding the tissues. Yeah. Which I absolutely loved. And it just shows you become friends to your brides, don't you?
We do, and that's the way it should be. You know, it's this really special, you know, I've absolutely no doubt that there is a place for, you know, high street, you know, big high street retailers offering bridal gowns, and I fully appreciate that there's a place in the market, you know, for big scale you know, impersonal shopping experiences. It's not what we do, it's not what we want to do, and what brings us so much joy is working with every bride in a totally unique way, to give her the experience that she deserves.
Yeah, it's about so much more than just wearing a pretty dress on the day. It is the wedding planning experience, I truly believe, is all part of the wedding itself. So the lead up to the wedding, these dress appointments, you know, things like meeting with your caterers, meeting your florist, talking about styling, these are things that, even if it's not something you would naturally enjoy, it is part of the process that I think you will enjoy, and you'll get into it. And, you know, there's so much kind of love and positivity behind the whole process, that it becomes a bigger part of the day. It's a way to kind of like just really enjoy being the bride,
I think you
or
learn
groom,
so
obviously.
Much. I think you learn so much about yourself planning a wedding that you didn't already know. You know, you learn what's important to you, and you know, yeah, how you want the day to run, and who you want there, and how, you know, how you want things to feel and flow, and how you want to look. I think you learn so much. I think you come out the other side of a wedding a bit of a different person. Yeah,
it's I would say it's an emotional more than aesthetic experience, even though the aesthetics are very much what people think it's all about. I think it's really interesting. Hopefully you still come out of it being the person that your other half wants to marry.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't it?
That's very key.
If you transitioned into Bridezilla, oh, I hate that word.
Yeah, try and stay away from that. So lots of brides and grooms, but you deal mainly with the brides. Lots of brides will be at home at the moment, because we are filming this during lockdown, although a lot of what we said is completely applicable to the shopping experience at any point, which we'll all be back to shortly, fingers crossed. So lots of brides will be at home and they'll be desperate to come in for the shopping experience, and they'll be wondering how they can prepare and what they can be doing at home to sort of research the styles they like, to find inspiration, that sort of thing. What would be your advice for those ladies at home with an itchy Pinterest finger?
Yeah. Pinterest will be getting some attention right now, won't it? Especially in the wedding planning domain. I know I'm constantly on it at the minute. But yeah, that's what to do, is start building up your board. I know I'm receiving messages from brides daily that are getting married next summer or beyond and saying, oh, I'm really worried I'm not going to have time to find a dress. And, with, God willing, we will be back at this in a few weeks, and so there'll be plenty of time, even hopefully for weddings this year, to get sorted. Really just research your designers. Start by looking at the boutiques around you, earmarking maybe a couple that you'd like to visit. Look at the designers that they stock. The best way in which I think you can get abreast of what people are doing right now is via Instagram. I know a lot of our designers, within the industry, have had to delay collection launches, sadly, because of this. I know a lot of our big trade buying events have been cancelled, and so there will be a bit of a delay on new collections. So nobody needs to worry about missing out on anything, because there's going to be a little bit of a delay on those getting into stores now. But a lot of the designers are putting their new styles on Instagram. So head over to the designers' Instagram feeds. Start off with your local boutiques. So our Instagram and Facebook is really well represented. You can head onto our websites to find full lists of our designers, and then just really go and research them. Look at their aesthetics. Try and find real brides. And yeah, like I say, get your Pinterest board filled up so that you're armed with quite a lot of information and desires when we open our doors again.
Yeah, that's such good advice. And actually, I think we're lucky to be, well, as lucky as you can be, to be in this digital age dealing with this situation.
Yeah.
Because without all these resources, your wedding blogs, your Instagram, your Pinterest, we'd be just looking at back copies of mags, which obviously are great. But everything's online now. So even our magazine is also online. So you can really do a lot of that up to the minute research from the comfort of your sofa.
Yeah. There's nothing not available to us now, and I think, again, because of the current situation, people are going above and beyond to make sure their social channels are current, they're uplifting, they're full of lots of inspiration and prettiness to keep people going, and so I don't think there's ever been a better time to kind of stalk your highly desired boutiques and designers and suppliers than now, because everybody's putting out some really great content.
I'd absolutely agree. I think everyone's up in their game, and it's not that people weren't before, it's just that they have more time now to focus on putting this stuff out there. So it's a secondary way of reaching brides, and it's a great way. It's a great way for brides to keep that excitement and that focus. Hayley, you're going to be very busy once everyone can come back out again. You really are, because I think people are going to be more excited and grateful to be going through this process, and we're going to need love, we're going to need weddings, and this is going to be we're going to be so happy to be experiencing this.
I think
I can't wait.
Our experience as well is just going to become so much more meaningful, because to have that close contact with people and to actually experience good emotions, happy emotions, going to be so
hope, I think.
Yeah
I think hope's the key thing. So because you're going to be busy, I think we should put in this, obviously you can't be taking appointments right now, but you are booking appointments, is that right?
Yeah, so we've opened our diary from the 1st of June. So we're not taking any appointments for April and May. We've opened our diary from the 1st of June. Obviously, we operate fully within the guidelines of the government, and we will not open our boutique until it's safe to do so for our brides and our team. But we are booking appointments in the diary now. June is already looking incredibly busy. We are looking at extending our opening hours to offer Sunday opening and late nights so that we can fit everybody in. Obviously, if the guidelines change and we need to push appointments back, then we will do so. But my recommendation would be get something in the diary, get something to look forward to, something to focus on. Start arranging a day, planning a day with your loved ones, with your friends and your mum and your sister or whoever, and let's get something in the diary to look forward to.
Agree. So generally, whether someone's watching this video now during the lockdown phase, or if they're watching it later, which I think will obviously be quite key, and the advice all still stands. How do they get in touch with you? Is it via your website? I can pop your website address here on screen.
Yeah, we've got the website, www.theharrogateweddinglounge.com. There is a book an appointment link on there, or our general email that you can fire off to us if you just have a query, or you can send an appointment request that comes straight through to our in-house system. You can message us or direct messages on our social channels, so on Instagram, on Facebook, but the way to get the quickest response is to submit a form on the website.
Via the website. So, and what's your Instagram handle, Hayley?
The Harrogate Wedding Lounge.
So at the Harrogate Wedding Lounge. That's where everyone can find you for some online inspo.
Yeah.
Hayley, you have been, as I knew you would be, an absolute star. I think there's so much in this episode for brides to take away and get going with from home. So, and hopefully they'll see you in boutique soon. Yeah. And me, hopefully I'll see you in boutique soon for one of our catch-ups.
Thanks, Julia. Thanks for your support as always.
Thanks so much. Cheers, Hayley.
Bye.